I keep cool.
Ready? Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll, please.
Mayor Bailey?
Here.
Mr. Bateman?
Here.
Mr. Goodyear?
Here.
Mr. Hart?
Here.
Mr. Ori? Vice Mayor Phelps?
Here.
Mr. Ping?
Here.
Do we have a motion to excuse Mr. Ori?
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Goodyear?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Ping?
Yes.
Mayor Bailey?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Welcome, everyone. It's about as full, I think, as we've had it here. With us tonight, we have our Director of Finance, Mark Medler, Clerk of Council, Misty Clark, City Manager, Dave Kennedy, City Solicitor, Joe Braun, Public Works Director, Scott Wisby, Chief of Police, Michael Gabrielson, and then a whole bunch of others that I'm going to hopefully not mess up here. Our engineer, Cindy Klopfenstein, Communications and Marketing Coordinator, Krista Rose. Let's see here. Assistant Public Works Director, Sean Hartness. Economic and Development Specialist, Eva Wisby is here. Permit Specialist, Becky Knoll. Make sure I don't miss. We've got the President of Little Miami River Chamber Alliance, Cece Collins is here. Our Blue Ash Police Chief is in the house, Scott Knowles. Thank you for being here. The Loveland Police Department Chaplain, Phil Spence. We have former Mayor Linda Cox and former council members Todd Osborne, Peggy Goodwin, and Kent Blair. Captain Gangler of the police department is here somewhere, along with, I saw Lieutenants Humphrey, Campbell, and Corbett, along with all kinds of our officers are here. There are other employees, but they're going to have our special moment here shortly. And also, former President of the School Board, Kathy Lorenz, is in the house. Is there anyone I missed? You wouldn't admit it if I did. All right. Welcome, everyone. So without further ado, let's start with the oath of office for Lieutenant Becker.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, Mr. Kennedy, City staff, everybody that is in attendance tonight. Tonight we have the pleasure of highlighting two of our team members for their service awards to Loveland, and Captain Gangler will be up here shortly to introduce them. One of those he will tell you about is Lieutenant Campbell. Has retired from LPD to accept a new career, and with her retirement, that created a vacancy within our command staff. So fortunately for us, we have a current promotional eligibility list that we're able to draw from. And tonight we're here to promote Officer Michael Becker to the rank of lieutenant. Before the mayor administers the oath, I wanted to share a few facts about Mike. Officer Becker started his career in 2012 with the Village of Peebles as a part-time officer. In 2014, he became full-time officer for the Village of Woodlawn. In 2017, he joined LPD and has worked here in patrol investigations and most recently as our school resource officer assigned to the middle and intermediate schools. Outside of work, Mike enjoys spending time with his family, his wife Lisa, who is here, who will pin his badge, and his three children, Elodie, who is here also, Isla, and Knox. They're both in attendance. He's also supported tonight by his parents, Kathy and Richard, in the back there, and his brother, Aaron. Right? Got that? Okay, good. And so we are excited and pleased to have Mike join the staff, the LPD command staff. And Mayor, if you would, please swear in our newest lieutenant.
Oh. I state your name.
I, Mike Becker,
Solemnly swear that I will
solemnly swear that I will
support the Constitution of the United States,
support the Constitution of the United States,
Constitution of the State of Ohio,
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the Charter and ordinances
and the Charter and ordinances
of the City of Loveland,
of the City of Loveland,
and will obey the laws thereof,
and will obey the laws thereof,
and will faithfully discharge
and will faithfully discharge
the duties of lieutenant
the duties of lieutenant
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations. Anything you want to say?
Oh. I have the tendency to get long-winded, so I'm just going to say that I am grateful for this responsibility and for the opportunity to serve this community in a different capacity. And I thank every one of you and look forward to serving further in the city of Loveland.
Congratulations.
Well, we're going to do a picture. Do a picture. You guys come a picture.
Lieutenant. Congratulations. That's one. Be loved. Yes.
Brian, no one's card is working, so I put
Just really bad. Really bad. Really bad. Really bad. I'm with you on that. We haven't yet proved that we're going to meet on all you do know. I've heard. But still. Yeah, well, no. I know. I still got you. 100%.
All right, Mr. Wisby, now we have a 5-year employment anniversary for maintenance worker Chris Rose.
Love it. Sitting there. You can be the man. Been there before. I know. So, Chris, I still look at him as a new guy. Been here 5 years, but he fits in so perfectly that I think he should know everything already, and I treat him like an old guy. So, Chris has mechanic background. He applied for mechanic and slipped through the cracks, and we don't know what happened, but we got him in the end. He's, like I said, a mechanic background, but he's got a farmer's work ethic, and he's actually worked in that field. So he's a great all-around guy. He's a perfect fit. Since he's came here, he has blended well with the community, with all the city employees. Everybody likes Chris. Nobody says anything bad about Chris at all. He's got that personality that he can make light of anything. So we appreciate having Chris on staff, and I can't believe we're celebrating 5 years already. So. Thank you, Chris. Thanks.
Oh, all right.
Really just doesn't seem like it's been 5 years. Came from 20-year career and made a change, and I think it's been the best, and hope to be here a lot longer and probably hopefully retire from here. So thank everybody for coming out tonight, and I appreciate it.
Okay. You're supposed to shake everybody's hand. Oh, okay. Shake hands first. Congratulations. Congratulations. I'll get you done. Shake hands. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Okay. Oh, my goodness.
All right.
I figured I'd be. Okay. Brand new.
You want some money? Want some money for this picture? All right, congratulations.
Okay.
I'm glad you asked.
It's all right.
Captain? All right. 10-year employment anniversary for Lieutenant Amy Humphrey. Come on up. Come on down.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, guests. It's my honor to celebrate Amy's 10-year service award. Amy came to the department in January of 2014 after serving some time at Springdale and being a mom. She's been involved in patrol, investigations, quartermaster system, recruiting, hiring, onboarding of all our new personnel, including yours truly. Countless community outreach initiatives, which is probably what she's most well known for, including directing our Citizens Police Academy, our Loveland Citizens Police Academy Alumni Association, and most recently, the highly successful Food for Fines program. And I'm probably not scratching the surface, if you'll forgive me. We want to express our sincerest thanks for years of dedicated service to the citizens of Loveland and this police department, and wish her the very best in her new endeavor and her new title of educator.
And I'm going to say something first.
Oh, thank you.
So, Amy, I think Lieutenant Campbell epitomizes what we want in our officers and our lieutenants. Just really embrace this community, and the community has embraced her. I think this is a huge loss for the city of Loveland. I'm going to miss you personally, professionally, but thank you for everything you've done for the city of Loveland, and good luck in your career, your future career. We'll miss you. Now it's your turn. Have to say something.
Not going to say much, but thank you so much. It's been 10 years of a lot, and as Captain said, I had the opportunity to do a lot for the department, and it was great. I got to learn quite a bit. So I wish you all well, and I'm excited to see the future. Thank you.
All right, now we have 30-year employment anniversary from Melissa Bacon. Come on up.
Well, we're here to celebrate Mel's service award of 30 years. She arrived in Loveland in January of 1994 after spending some 10 years at LCNB Bank. She worked in finance, tax, utilities while here at her career with Loveland. She also spent time as an assistant clerk, furthering display her willingness to support the needs of the city of Loveland. In 2005, she was appointed to her current position as the Loveland Clerk of Court. Mel is a dedicated member of the city of Loveland who brings professionalism, dedication, devotion to her craft. Her calming influence and personalness is a shining example for others to follow. We wish to express our heartfelt thank you and congratulations on 30 years of exceptional service.
You don't have to take this yet, but it's pretty cool. It's great.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty nice.
That is cool.
It's very nice. You want to say it? Everybody's doing it.
I know. It's been a long 30 years, but it's been great. So I appreciate everything everyone's done for me and the opportunity with the city. It's been good. So you're still going to have me here a little bit, but yeah, yeah. So thank you very much.
Yeah. We so hope to get out of this.
Please.
I have the box.
There you go. It's heavy. Okay. Is this you, Dave? Farewell and best wishes. City Engineer Cindy Clough.
For Scott. Well, this is obviously a significant loss to the city. There's this saying around Loveland City Hall. I heard it 10 years ago when I arrived that Cindy could fire you and you'd give her a hug on the way out the door. And I used to think that was a joke, and it's really true. She deals with residents in every maker manner, every way you can imagine. And finding people that truly care. There's people that work and do a good job, but there's people who are dedicated in so many fashions. And Cindy sometimes has to be the no in the room. And part of that is respecting that when she says no, she doesn't mean no in a bad way. She means she's always looking out for what's best for the city. And I was thinking about Cindy today and a project that's coming up next week with the East Loveland Bridge closure. And I thought to myself, this is probably symbolizes Cindy at her best. So you have a bridge that the county was going to replace. How quick did Cindy jump on that opportunity to use that as leverage to allow the city to get grant funding at the same time to replace a water main, to fix storm drainage, to add sidewalks, to get MSD in there. So not only did she get to leverage it so we were able to get grant funding out of it, but she was able to take one pain in the butt to the community, break it into one instead of multiple. And that is what Cindy's always looking to do, is look out for leverage. How frustrating is it to see a project get done and then we go back into it? But through it all, it's just the way Cindy treats people. And I think it epitomizes how much she cares about this community and how good of a person she is. She cares about every one of us personally, and I know myself and a couple of things I've gone through. Cindy was always there to offer some advice. So to see her leave is tough for this city, but I know she's doing what spiritually what she thinks is best, and it's hard to argue with the big guy upstairs. So, but I just want to say that Cindy has been an incredible benefit to this city, and I can't even count the millions and millions of dollars that she has brought into this city and the projects that you would wonder, how did we ever pull that off? Cindy pulled it off. When you look at Harrison and you look at the parking lot and how long did we try with Broadway when the hill was collapsing? How did it all get funding? Cindy pulled it all together. And just her calm demeanor and her way to just realize this is what we have to do for the best of the city. So I know Scott wants to say a few words, but I really hope that deep down we all appreciate what she has done is just remarkable, simply remarkable to this city. And I've learned a lot from her, so I really appreciate it. So Scott, I know you wanted to add a few things.
So I wanted to ask Owen and Olivia to come up here if you wouldn't mind. Todd, No, no. These. So this is my family. These are my people, and I'm dearly gonna miss her. And I know, you guys think she's so sweet and innocent, but I've got to tell you, she's a brilliant engineer, and Dave just gave you a glimpse of what she does. But on the backside of things, she's an evil genius. She's behind every scam, every trick, every all the foul play that goes on at Public Works. She's got a hand in it. So we'll miss that a lot. And I'll also miss my sister. So I appreciate Cindy.
So Cindy, we worked on a gift. Misty is sort of the brains behind this operation. So thank you for your time. That's Misty put that together.
Thank you so much for all the kind words and the encouragement. It has been a real blessing to get to work here with such amazing staff and have the support of them, Dave, Scott, council, support of my family, the Lord, just, helping me through all of these nearly 17 years. We have fun at Public Works. But yeah, it's been awesome. I'm going to miss you guys a lot. Staying in the area. My kids go to school at Loveland, so you won't be rid of me. I'll be close. I just appreciate everything. Thank you so much.
All right, now we have CC Collins for introduction of the 2024 Valentine's Day.
Thank you. There's a lot going on tonight, so thank you so much for once again having the Valentine ladies and the Valentine program honored tonight. Wanted to tell you a little bit about the program, and it is a little bit condensed from what it was before. So a Valentine lady is a woman who has distinguished herself by their commitment and involvement in the community. And like a Marine, once a Valentine lady, always a Valentine lady. The Loveland Valentine Lady tradition began in 1972 when Dr. Roland Boyke implemented the idea and coined the phrase, "There's nothing in the world so sweet as love." His secretary, Doris Feaster, volunteered to stamp all the cards that year, which Doris did until 1988 when her daughter Ruth then took over. Later that year, the Loveland Chamber began an official Valentine Lady program, which included a new Valentine Lady every year, which began in 1989. This year will be the 35th Valentine Lady. You're going to hear more about her in a minute. The first step in becoming a Valentine Lady is to be nominated, and anybody can nominate. Then the Valentine Program Committee reviews all the letters, nominations, and votes. All the Valentine ladies are different, but they have one thing in common, in that they have given back to their community and they love being involved in their community. That common thread truly makes them Valentine sisters. The first and one of the most rewarding responsibilities of the Valentine Lady is to go into the schools, pre-K through fourth grade, during the first 2 weeks of February. And each Valentine Lady has a different topic or presentation that they offer. There's an annual Valentine breakfast at Oasis most of the time in February, which is a great representation of the Chamber's Valentine program. The new Valentine Lady is honored there along with all the Valentine ladies, like here. The new Valentine card is shown, and the artist who created the artwork is introduced. Each year the design is different and the artist is different, but the message is always the same. There's nothing in the world so sweet as love. There's a Valentino coloring contest for the kids and a poetry contest for all ages. This breakfast is a wonderful opportunity to see and feel what the Valentine program is all about. And it's always the Friday before Valentine's Day. This year it is on February 9th at Oasis. And I can't forget to mention the post office tradition. People make it a point to send their Valentine cards to family and loved ones every year with our hand-stamped cachet, "There's nothing in the world so sweet as love," and the hand-stamped postmark from Loveland, Ohio. It's really a sweet tradition, and we get thousands each year from all over the world. As a matter of fact, in 2023, they were mailed to 46 different states, from 46 different states to Loveland, plus Washington, D.C., 5 countries, and the Army and Fleet post offices. The post office is also a fun volunteer job and a wonderful way to connect with your community. So if anybody wants to help the ladies out, they're always looking for volunteers, and just let the chamber know. All right, now on to the Valentine ladies themselves. I'd like to introduce all of them. Not all of them are here tonight. Weather and all kinds of other things have kept some away. And first I'm going to start off. We have some that are no longer with us, but they certainly have done a lot in the community and made a huge impact in the community. So I'm not going to introduce them, but I'd like to just do a moment of silence in their honor. We could right now. Thank you. All right, I'm going to start from 1989 with those that are still with us. I'm not here tonight, as I said, but if you are here, please give us a wave or stand up if you'd like to. Jump up and down, make a heart. I don't know. All right, Pat Randolph, 1989, and Ann Jones Fowler, 2000. I know this one's here. Pat Furterer. Woo! All right, 2002. Peggy Goodwin, 2006. Kay Napier, 2008. Linda Cox, former mayor, 2009. Yay! Avery Winky Foster, 2011. Jan Renard, 2012. Janice Fogel, 2014. Woo! Sue Lundy, 2015. All right. Carol Williams, 2017. Kay Bolin, 2018. All right. Kathy Lorenz, 2019. Debbie Murray, 2020. And Judy Schumacher, 2021 and 22 due to COVID. We had her a couple years, which was wonderful. Donna Barnes, 2023. And we're going to hold off on 2024 so you can hear more about her. But if we could give those ladies a big round of applause. We truly do appreciate all you've done in the community, whether it's been through the schools or through the community itself, through the chamber, what have it. Thank you so much. I know each of you have your own repertoire and resume of volunteer work, and it's just meant a lot to our community. All right, next I'm going to bring up Kay Bolin, and she's going to read a little bit about this year's Valentine Lady and then introduce her. So, Kay Bolin.
Thank you, Kay. Becky Giver, a woman who flies under the radar while constantly doing her good and caring deeds in our community. Since Becky has retired, or I should say semi-retired, she has been able to put all that energy into our community. In addition to being a continued patron for Loveland's restaurants and businesses, she doesn't stop there, as she knows that it takes work as well as fun to keep a community growing. Loveland is so lucky to have several nonprofit organizations that need good people who are willing to work and not be afraid to get their hands dirty. And speaking of getting your hands dirty, Becky has been involved with the City of Loveland Beautification Committee. She has been one of several members who have helped beautify our community. Today, she continues to work on some special projects with Love Our Land, and it's so cool to watch Loveland's renewed interest in planning and planting, with the focus on pollinator beds throughout our community. Becky doesn't stop with planting. In fact, you have probably seen her and her husband Gary walking on 48, carrying a bag and picking up trash to help once again keep our community beautiful and clean. They have been part of this Adopt a Block program for years. Becky is also on the board for Loveland Legacy Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit charitable organization with the purpose of improving the community of Loveland with a common purpose of the betterment of Loveland now and in the future. Another not-for-profit organization she is involved with is the Loveland Stage Company, as house manager and ad sales. Like everything she does, she goes far beyond the requirements to ensure comfort and a pleasant experience for the patrons. Becky has been a volunteer for years and has recently been appointed to be on the board of directors for the Loveland Historical Museum, whose mission is to enrich lives and connect our community through diverse arts and history experiences. She has also just finished a very productive term as president of the Loveland Women's Club and now serves as advisor for the next 2-year term. And in her spare time, Becky and Gary take care of the bird feeders at the Loveland Nature Preserve. In summary, Becky cares about our community and its people. She helps make a better community for all of us and future generations. Her compassion is contagious. She will make a fun-loving and productive addition to our Valentine Lady Sisterhood. And Becky, we are thrilled to have you. Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
People and all I say is it's such an honor to be it's beyond my belief, but I so look forward to on this incredible Chamber of Commerce program that I promise to do all I can possibly do to help. And thank you all so much. Just a few quick reminders. We have the breakfast, and you can register for the breakfast at Ellen Marching like order if you want to. And then the do a Valentino contest, which I mentioned. Those photos will be posted at the coffee shop. So I'm going to the poetry contest should be written on the witty plans read at the breakfast. So make sure you know that. And most importantly, if you'd like to get your this year's card, which is really cool. It's like the castle. Almost all the businesses that sell something, you can buy them there. And then take them to get stamped at the post office for February 1st. There's like the first through the 12th. So all the ladies will be there to help you. And okay, we're going. All right. Well, thank you so much for having us. Good night.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Valentine ladies, for being here tonight. Thank you for everything you do for this community, as I've said, individually and collectively. And Becky, your philanthropic volunteer resume is impressive. I think we're going to have a good year with you as our Valentine lady. So thank you to all of you. And can we get a picture with all of you? We want a picture. What's that? I don't know. Maybe. We'll stand back here. Should we stand back here? Because there's a lot of you. So
I don't think so. Yeah, I got their jackets.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
We have, yeah, we're safe.
That's right.
I know where they got those jackets.
Do you?
Yeah, maybe we can pick up
Where?
a pair for us.
What? Ladies,
Tippy toes.
ladies, ladies.
I just no. We're not the important ones.
Everybody wants the middle.
Yes.
That's right. Where is Becky? Get in the middle, Becky.
Becky needs to be in the middle.
She
Trouble.
never forgets.
Take it all back.
Sorry, Kathy.
All right. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Good to see you.
Fun times.
No, she's had a bunch of knee surgeries too. Then I know that had these recently.
Shit.
But I don't know.
Wait, I mean, shoot.
She had.
You get the bone?
And Blair over there.
We're in a break.
Something see.
Don't tell jokes when I'm sitting here.
Thank you for I don't know. If I know Pat makes.
Oh, yes. Go ahead. Hearts of Fire.
Hi, everyone. I'm Krista with the Marketing Communications for the city, and I just wanted to speak briefly about our next event, Hearts of Fire Weekend. It's February 9th through 12th. This is the third annual year for the event. There's so much going on, it's hard to describe, but I would say it is free family fun for all ages. There'll be 30 ice sculptures this year. There'll be live ice carving, fireworks, carriage rides. We do a Valentine pageant with all funds are raised and donated to the Loveland Stage Company. There'll be dance lessons, a vow renewal ceremony, arts, painting activities, decorations all over the city. So we really hope everyone can join us for this event, and we have all the details on the city website. We hope to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Open forum. Kent Blair. Is the mic back on?
My name is Kent Blair. I live at 1849 Westfield Drive. I know you have your biannual goal planning session coming up soon, and I want to encourage you to include a greater focus on the implementation of renewable solar energy as part of your plans for the next 2 years. We all know that climate change is occurring. We all know that continued use of fossil fuel sources is a significant and maybe the primary cause of that climate change. To your credit, the city has already started on a path to reduce the city's carbon footprint with the installation of solar panels on the roof of the then new city Public Works building. I'm here tonight to remind you that there is much more Loveland can do, and there are lots of resources and governmental assistance to help us. An op-ed in the January 11th edition of the Cincinnati Enquirer by Cincinnati City Councilman Mark Jeffries highlights the resources that are coming available from the Inflation Reduction Act, signed by President Biden in 2022. I have a copy of that article for each of you to peruse. The City of Cincinnati, working through its Green Cincinnati plan, in conjunction with OKI, who's been around here, on whose board Mr. Jeffries sits, has engaged a group called Green Umbrella to build regional climate plans to capture Inflation Reduction Act funding opportunities under the Climate
Pollution Reduction Grants, CPRG. The climate goal is net carbon neutrality by 2050, a moonshot, if you will. Here's what it could mean. Saving taxpayers money. As an example, San Diego, the city of San Diego invested $5 million in solar, and they're saving $240,000 a year on energy costs. The big one, when I read this article, is this. It lets municipalities make investments without local match requirements. The city has been unparalleled in its ability to find grant money available, and much of it comes with matching requirements. There's no matching requirements with this money. Dramatic reductions in the cities and the region's carbon footprint. Currently, Cincinnati and the Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana region ranks 18th in year-round particulate pollution. It allows for the creation of good-paying jobs through construction and job training. The piece in this paper speaks to the notion of big, imaginative ideas that require vision and money to accomplish. I propose this vision: a solar array on every municipal building, including the new fire station in the city of Loveland. The money is there. All we have to do is go get it. There are hundreds of billions of dollars that will be available through these grants. The same grants are also available to schools, but that's away from your purview. To paraphrase President John Kennedy, we can choose to do these things not because they are easy, but because we owe a cleaner environment to our children and grandchildren. There's an old saying, the best day to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best day is tomorrow. Let's get started. There are application deadlines to meet, but we have some time. Loveland is a city that leads in so many things. We can and should be a leader in reimagining our energy future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Blair. Scott Wheeler.
Good evening. Scott Wheeler. Live at 132 Woodcrest Drive. I've been a soccer coach here and youth soccer coach here in Loveland since 2016. Both my girls played soccer. After they got through their first year in 2016, they moved into club soccer, and I stayed with the recreational program here in Loveland since then. But I've come to believe that soccer is too expensive in our community. Last year, I set up a 501c3 for a new soccer club called RB Loveland, and with the purpose of offering a competitive soccer experience for youth in our community that can't afford $1,500 to $2,200 per year to play soccer. Normally this is park board business, but given that the park board doesn't meet until the end of February, I'm here to help get a little resolution on obtaining some field space. I've been working with Mr. Kennedy and Misty to a degree earlier last year, and they directed me to the president of LISA, who has exclusive rights to the field space here in Loveland. So we've been passing some emails back and forth, and Mr. Kennedy was kind enough to send me the field use policy. And when I read it, it was clear to me that Loveland Youth Soccer is already, since 2016, operating outside of the field use policy significantly. So anyway, ended up having a conversation with the president of LISA, and he agreed to let me use, with the new club, RB Loveland, stop in the field over at Kiwanis, for whom Kiwanis is listed as one of the fields available in the fall. So what I'm looking for is a little bit of help to get this field space approved for use in the fall. I can meet all of the criteria by February 28th for field use, but if I can't get a little bit of help and a little bit of fast track on approval, I'm not going to be able to make the permitting process. So what can we do? Is there any way that we can empower Mr. Kennedy through the Park Board to fast track this space for use in the park?
It's something we'll look into, Mr. Wheeler. We can't give you answers tonight as to what we can do. But we're aware of it and aware of your time frames, and I know Mr. Kennedy is looking into it.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we have review and approval of minutes from the January 9th, 2024 meeting. Any additions, changes to those minutes?
Move to approve as written.
Is there a second? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Goodyear?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Ping?
Yes.
Mayor Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
All right, we have a second reading of an ordinance. You can go ahead and read the ordinance.
Ordinance amending Chapter 1107 Definitions, Chapter 1156 Table of Permitted Uses, and Chapter 1165 General Zoning Regulations of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Loveland, Ohio.
All right, we talked about this last time. Is there any further comment, question? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Ping?
Yes.
Mayor Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Goodyear?
Yes.
Resolution 11 is adopted by a vote of 6-0.
Mr. Kennedy?
So, the city, people are probably aware the city has been, over the last few years, basically last 5 or 6 years, we've been working on all of our traffic signals, both in terms of preemption, which is a way that the traffic signals can sense the flow of traffic and make necessary adjustments. And of course, the GPS, which is separate, but also allows the traffic signals to detect emergency vehicles and make adjustments as they come through the area. In terms of preemption, we started in the downtown district back in 2015 or 2016. And what we did was, by allowing the traffics to adjust, it made a significant difference especially in the morning, with the flow of traffic. We have then extended that throughout the entire 13 traffic signals that we have throughout the city. A couple that we had remaining, which is Rich and West Loveland. Rich at Tiger Trail, South Lebanon at Pheasant Hills Drive, and West Loveland at Lebanon, are still yet to be have the preemption put into them. I did not listen to the city engineer this year when we were doing the capital improvement, and deferred the traffic signal in front of the high school to 2025, and that signal has since gone bad. So the difference is, most of you have seen the pads. The pad technology was the first preemption, which was beneficial, but you had to physically get on the pad for the traffic to know what's coming on. That has long since been outweighed by the white panels that you'll see at the traffic at the various intersections. That allows it to go to much extreme, because it can sense the traffic's farther away and detect that. So with when the pads or the preemption signals fault, they just go to a timer. This has caused a bit of a if there's ever an intersection that needs the full preemption, it's in front of the high school, because it'll adjust as for school, for special events, for football, and right now it's just simply working on as a timer. So rather than simply replace the pad and fix the pad, which those are a maintenance issue. That's why people switched away from anytime in Middle Street. You have to replace those. Cindy has recommended that we go ahead and do the full preemption radar, and units at that traffic signal. So this is an unbudgeted item. I did not include this in the 2024 CIP. So trying to, which is what we do, we try to find projects that would potentially be underruns. Cindy and I did a little bit of a deep dive in all of the different CIP projects, and not to go into great detail, but as the city knows, we've been working for a long time with the Army Corps of Engineers to do a stabilization of the Riverside Drive, which is a long-term project, and we're really making some headway on that. We had earmarked $300,000 for preliminary engineering that was going to begin in October. That will likely not begin in October, and the city's share of that at best in the 2024 budget will be about $100,000. So we're earmarking that balance of the money to go to this project. So moving forward, this would then allow us 3 remaining intersections that still need the preemption to be completed. We've held off at Lebanon and West Loveland largely because there's always been plans for a roundabout at that intersection. But this would seemingly have been the next logical choice. It really will help the flow of traffic for the high school.
Any comments or questions? Read the resolution, please.
Resolution authorizing the execution of a purchase order to Capital Electric for the installation of traffic preemption system at the intersection of Rich Road and Tiger Trail.
Call the roll, please.
Vice Mayor Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Ping?
Yes.
Mayor Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Goodyear?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Resolution 12 is adopted by a vote of 6-0.
Mr. Kennedy?
So October 10th, 2023, when City Council approved our recommendation to allow the Lane Christensen to do a full rehab of the well cavity of well number 5, there was also included in that proposal was a quote to redo the pump mechanism. Due to funding in the well water account, I had deferred on that and hoped for the best. Once everything was dismantled during the process of repairing well 5, it's become very clear that the pump mechanism needs to be replaced. This is so the city has 3 wells. 2 wells suffice to take care of the city's water supply. 1 well is for all backup needs, emergency needs. Now I say that all wells rotate. We don't not use a well. Well, we pump in a rotation. The system does it. But at any given time, there's only 2 operating. 1 is a backup. So right now, well 5 is down. The other 2 are operating fine. And of course, city has 2 emergency connections. So to make the repairs to the pump, which isn't just the pump, I gave you a presentation, and I did that just because it helps explain the difference in what the well cavity is and what the well pump and the shaft and the channel piping that goes in. All of that will be included in this project. This will take well 5 to peak capacity and will help us as we move forward with what everything else the city is doing, of course, with our PFAS study and all the other steps that the city are doing. Hindsight being what it is, I probably should have went ahead and had well for the pump done with this, but at the time we didn't have any reason to believe that it would be out. But while the pump as well is down, this is the best time to move forward with all new rings, everything done with the well. These wells were drilled in the 60s, installed in the 70s, and quite frankly, the city has gotten away for a long time with not having to invest a lot of money in them. So this is a good time to bring well 5 to peak efficiency as we move forward with all the other items that we're doing.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? Yes, Vice Mayor.
Mr. Kennedy, is the pump that's in there from the 70s?
The pump itself was fixed in the 90s. That's the last time the pump was repaired. It's never really a full pump. It's pieces here, pieces there. But yes, we've been very fortunate with our operations of our wells and our mechanisms. You'll notice there's some hatch repairs. I did that on a separate PO. That's employee safety. You'll see that if you're wondering, that's not included in this quote. I did that separately because anytime you're dealing with employee safety, there's 2 hatches, one that allows you to get up on the top and one that allows you down into the first level of the well cavity. Those are both been faulty, and we went ahead and had those repaired as part of this. But yes, last time there was any major repairs to the pump itself of any of the wells was in the 90s. Sorry.
All right. Any other comment or questions? Read the resolution, please.
Resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a purchase order with Lane Christensen Company for water well number 5 pump repairs.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Ping?
Yes.
Mayor Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Goodyear?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Phelps?
Yes.
Resolution 13 is adopted by a vote of 6 to 0.
Mr. Kennedy?
So, as everyone knows, we're working hard towards the signalization of the bike trail crossing. The city receives grant funding to take care of what is one of the significant traffic causes of the traffic issues, especially during the warmer months. So this has become quite a web of a puzzle that TEC, our traffic engineer, has been working with for a while. So in addition to the signalization of the bike trail and ultimately the changing of the direction of traffic on Railroad Avenue, the free smart traffic signals that we have in the downtown district need to be upgraded so they all communicate. So the whole theory of this is really simple, that when the traffic signal is going to give a green light for the pedestrian traffic, it will be based upon the traffic flow of the other traffic signals, most notably on the Carl Brown traffic. So when the Carl Brown traffic has a green light, the West Loveland traffic eastbound has the most. That is when the traffic flow at the bike trail is at the least. That's when the pedestrian traffic will get a green light. So they all have to communicate. When Ed reached out to the railroad to let them know that we would be making the changes, they basically said, hey, wait a second, we need to make some upgrades to ours too. If you design your cable, if you include your cable design, which is basically all to the huts over here next to the Loveland station, you can be included in the grant funding we have. So the $19,000 that the city is going to do to redo all of our cabinets and all of our controllers in the downtown district so they work with the new controllers going in here will be covered through the Ohio Rail Development Commission funding, which is really a good deal. And quite frankly, we would have never caught on to it. Ed's the one that figured all of this out. So we really are thankful to Ed, because with this, all controllers will include a cable, of which then they'll replace their hutch and run it into there. So it was a good find on Ed's behalf. So this is simply to authorize us to go through it with the design to be funded through the city and then reimbursed by the ORDC. It is important to note that we've included in this, because I asked Ed, and Cindy and I together asked Ed to look at, while we were doing this study, whether or not we want to look at adding a left turn arrow for eastbound traffic West Loveland onto Carl Brown. It would appear to the city and those who watch traffic in the downtown district that now that Harrison has been widened, the radius has been corrected, it will be the direct access to the parking lot that we would anticipate that there will be considerably more traffic wanting to make that left turn. So similar to what we did upon the recommendation of Councilmember Ori and Mr. Bersani, that what we did at 5 Points, which is where we added that quick left turn onto 5 Points, which has made a difference. We think that might be a good idea to be proactive rather than reactive. So I asked Ed to include that in the design. I've reached out to the ORDC in full transparency to make sure that we're not trying to run something through them. If they say take a couple thousand off of the quote, then we will. But at this point in time, we're still bringing it all. We feel there's a need to go ahead and look at that left arrow. So there would be the left arrow and a green. It would be a brief period of time, but we think that will help with the downtown traffic flow. So that's why you see that included in the study.
All right. Any comments or questions? Okay.
Is part of that study to also the length of the turning lane, or is it just the light itself?
Just the light itself. I made that call back when we did that, and we did that largely because if we would not have made the left turning, what they call it, collector lane or whatever they call that short, it would have defaulted. No traffic would have been able to turn into Cappies. So that's sort of why at the last minute we had changed that back when we did it. But there's not a whole lot of room to expand that. that arrow without it having a direct impact of the inflow into that area.
Yes, Mr. Bateman.
Thanks for including the left turn lane on onto Carl Brown. I do think that's this is the right time to do that. My question is around the impact that the signals would have, if any, on our safety services and their ability. Would they have to upgrade equipment if the signals were upgraded? Would our safety services folks have to upgrade their equipment that would allow them to bypass the?
Well, that's a great comment. Great point, Ms. Bateman. I had never thought about that, but yes, we will. I'll mention that to Ed that ultimately these would be one new controller box that we would want to add that GPS into, because we just ordered 4 new ones for our police cruisers. So we're getting those out there in emergency vehicles. So that's a great point. I will mention that to Ed on that. But we'll yes, ultimately I would believe, I'm no expert, that we'll also want to add the same technology, the GPS technology, to these units too. So that green light. But we will say that we are looking at a change in the direction on railroad that goes with this too, because it only makes sense. Councilmember Ping had mentioned that in the past. So yeah, thanks a lot, Mr. Bateman. I'll mention that to Ed.
Yes, Vice Mayor.
Mr. Kennedy, so this resolution, if passed, it gets the design and plans from TEC to do this. So would you be coming back to council for further expenditures once the plans are?
Yeah, this will all be looped into the whole project of signalizing the intersections. We should have enough funding, so we're getting the design for free. The construction, redoing all the control boxes, will be included in the grant funding we have for the bike trail crossing signalization, which, if you recall, is signals for pedestrian bike flow along with new signals at the thing. So it'll all you have done so far in terms of that project is you back in I forget when that was, in 2023, you approved what called an ODOT let, if you recall. And what you did there was, we're not ODOT let city, so ODOT had to bid out that project. So yes, right now all we're doing is the design, bringing the railroad into the fold with us, so it'll all be done. And when you approve this project as a whole, hopefully later in 2024, this will include all the controllers.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Do we have a separate agreement with ORDC by which they reimburse us?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I executed that agreement because it was a 1-for-1, so I was allowed to execute that agreement.
Just making sure.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Go ahead and read the resolution.
Resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with TEC Engineering for design services for the replacement of traffic signal controllers in the downtown business district. Sorry.
Call the roll, please.
Mayor Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Goodyear?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Ping?
Yes.
Resolution 14 is adopted by a vote of 6-0.
Mrs. Clark?
Staff is recommending City Council renew the cleaning contract with Precision Cleaning Systems. They provide janitorial services at City Hall, the Safety Center for both police, fire, and dispatch, and at Public Works. The contract before council reflects the first increase in 3 years. In 21, 22, and 23, their quote was $30,720 for annual cleaning services. In 2024, we're seeing an increase of roughly 12.5% with a quote of $34,752. The increase reflects the size of the Public Works building. I think that department had the biggest increase. The resolution before council also includes an additional $2,750 for any emergency or extra cleaning that could occur throughout the year. That could be cleaning after an event, construction, water damage, or waxing floors. And just to note, the city accepted bids for cleaning services in 2018 and again in 2023. We hired Precision Cleaning in 2019, and they've done a great job for us. So we'd like to renew their contract.
All right. Any comments or questions? The first reading only. I'm going to go ahead and read the ordinance.
It's the resolutions.
Oh, you're right. Well, I already skipped ahead. I blew right past this. Go ahead and read the resolution.
Resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into contract with Precision Cleaning Systems for janitorial services.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Goodyear?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes. Sorry.
Vice Mayor Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Ping?
Yes.
Mayor Bailey?
Yes.
Resolution 15 is adopted by a vote of 6-0.
Mr. Medler.
Thank you, Mayor. City Council approved the purchase of a new fire apparatus on November 7th, 2022. This was via Resolution 2022-112. This apparatus is scheduled to arrive in 2024, I believe is approximately September. So the city staff recommends that we use the city's local fiscal recovery funds, which was the second batch of COVID funds that the city received, to use for this apparatus. The city is required to have a purpose for these funds by the end of this year, and then they have a couple years to spend it. So this is a project that we have sold our previous apparatus, the ladder truck, and we'll be needing a new one, which is coming in September. And with these funds, we will be able to completely cash fund that purchase, not having to do debt for a over $1 million piece of equipment. So to get a purchase order, we have to have the funds appropriated, which is another word for creating the budget for it. So this action would appropriate that money in the local fiscal recovery fund. After that is done, we'll be able to do a purchase order, and we'll be able to complete the purchase when the vehicle arrives in September.
All right, thank you. Any comments or questions? Mr. Hart?
Mr. Mother, can you kind of describe for me where this money has been sitting and why it's available to
Right.
access for us?
Because of the rules for this, again, I believe was the second batch of COVID money that we received. The rules were we had to set up a completely new fund for it just to keep it separate. So nothing would be, so we wouldn't put it in the general fund and then, oops, we forgot and we, spent it. The rules were to keep it completely separate. We set up an own fund, and the money has been sitting there ever since we received it a couple years ago. So the money is there. This action is just setting the budget so that we can do a purchase order for it.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? All right, this is first reading. Please read this.
Ordinance to make revisions to appropriations for expenditures for the City of Loveland, State of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2020.
Thank you. Mr. Medler.
Thank you, Mayor. This quarterly report represents not just the fourth quarter of 2023, but the end of the year. 2023 was a busy year for projects which included the Chestnut property, State Route 48 turn lane, and Harrison Avenue improvements. The city started to receive funds from the fire levy that the voters passed in 2022, and the water main replacement fund was created to receive WMR funds. Investment income remained strong through the year, finishing with $455,240. This is a $315,000 increase from 2022. Now, 2024 will still be strong, but the rates are starting to slip a little bit, so we're not going to see another $300,000 increase year over year. Still should be good, so we're going to keep an eye on it. When, right about now, the rates that we're seeing from Star, Ohio, which is where we have most of our money in, they were about 5.5% for a while. Things are starting to slip down, at least on the Raymond James side, that are low to the low fives and starting to get into the 4%. So still a lot better than a couple years ago when we were getting 0.03 or something like that. Just really awful revenue. Not as good as this year, but still much higher than it was before.
All right. Does anybody have a comment or questions for Mr. Medler? I believe we need a motion to approve the fourth quarterly update, correct?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Goodyear?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Ping?
Yes.
Mayor Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Mr. Medler?
Thank you, Mayor. So for our income tax specifically, We finished the year about $6.8 million. So we had mentioned that we would be flirting with the $7 million number. Didn't quite make it there, but we were ahead of the previous year's pace. So just to make a note, you'll notice that in the end of 2022, November and December had quite a large amount. It was about in the $600,000 range. This was because the city participated with RITA in what they called the subpoena program. So for a few years during COVID, RITA would send out note cards to people saying, hey, remember, this is a mandatory filing city. It's nice for you to file your taxes. Subpoena program adds a little bit more weight to it, saying, hey, you need to do this. So a lot of that money that we received late in 2022 was for people getting current on their taxes that perhaps they had forgotten to file for a year or two, or it just kind of slipped as people were going through hardships through COVID. So that's why things were really, really high there at the end of 2022. So 23 was still strong, and it still actually finished ahead of 22. So this is revenue, again, that we take a look at every quarter. The Finance Commission looks very closely at this, and we're going to keep an eye on it, make sure we're doing well for 2024.
All right, thank you. Any comment or questions? All right, there are various minutes in the packet. Anybody have any comments on those? All right, Mrs. Clark, do you want to talk about the goal setting?
Sure. I reached out to council to schedule goal setting on February 17th. I put a motion in front of you, if you want to present that in a little bit. But council meets every 2 years after the election to do a retreat and set goals for the next 2 years. We hire a facilitator to come in and work through council through that process. We're proposing that we do that again. We use Jane Doherty with, she used to be with Wright State University. Now she has her own business. And to have that meeting, council needs to set a special meeting date so we can advertise, and it is open to the public so people can come and watch.
All right, so we need a motion to schedule City Council's goal-setting work session for Saturday, February 17th, 2024. Is it at 9 or 8 a.m.?
9.
At 9 a.m. at the Marmalade Lily located at 9850 Schlotman Road, Loveland, Ohio. Would someone care to make said motion?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Yes. Second.
Thank you. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Ping?
Yes.
Mayor Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Goodyear?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Okay, announcements. Loveland Stage Company is hosting a concert series on January 26th and 27th featuring the Young Fables from Marysville, Tennessee. Tickets can be purchased on the Loveland Stage Company's website, lovelandstagecompany.org. Hearts of Fire weekend is February 9th through 11th. Details about that event and scheduled activities are available on our website. Does anybody have anything else to report? All right, we need a motion for executive session. Vice Mayor?
Yeah, I'd move for executive session under Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22G1 to consider the compensation of a public employee or official.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Vice Mayor Phelps?
Yes.
Mr. Ping?
Yes.
Mayor Bailey?
Yes.
Mr. Bateman?
Yes.
Mr. Goodyear?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
We on? All right. Can we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Ping,
Yes.
Mayor Bailey, Mr. Bateman,
Yes.
Mr. Goodyear,
Yes.
Mr. Hart,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Phelps.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.